A couple in New Bern is sharing an inspiring story between two who have been married for over 40 years. You will want to hear this story, and it might even bring a tear to your eye.
Steve needed a transplant. This would be his third transplant. They told him that he would have to go on dialysis if he didn't get a kidney. So we went, and they said it would be 8 to 10 years. So I knew that he wasn't going to make it that long. So I said, why don't I get tested? And I did, and they said I was a close enough match that I could give him my kidney. So that's what we decided to do. And we started in about June, and then we got it done in October. It wasn't really hard for me because a lot of people say to me, oh my gosh, you're like, that's so amazing, you're so this and that. But I don't really feel that way. I feel like we've been married 40 plus years, we have grandkids and kids together, and how could you watch someone get ill, more and more ill and not do something if you can? So I didn't really think about it, and I'm also the kind of person who thinks nothing's ever going to happen to me. So I'm like, yeah, I'll give it. It'll be great. It'll be fine. I'll be fine. And you know what? I really recovered well. It actually was pretty intense. That's why it took 4 months to be able to do it, because you just have to go through so many different tests. They said, again, I wasn't a perfect match, but with the anti-rejection meds, that it would work out fine. And so I went through all the testing, and it was nice because I got to find out that I'm in really great shape. Yeah. You know what I mean? I really am, because they did everything from start to finish. And everything turned out well, and they said, you know, she's a great candidate. And so then they just told us to pick a date. You always hear the worst stories, you know, and stuff like that. They sent me home the day after. I needed help for about a week, but after that, I move a little slower, get tired a little easier. But all in all, it really went well, a lot better than I thought. Organ donation is just such a wonderful thing. I mean, 3 different times it saved my husband, so I would just promote it. You know, a lot of people get, even when they're gone, they don't want to do something like that because it seems weird to them. But honestly, I think it's a wonderful thing. I did talk to the care team. I had Allison, and she was my advocate. So she said, I'm advocating for you if you ever feel like you don't want to do it. And I'd never even told Steve this, but she said to me, even somewhere down the road, just say, you know what, I can't do this. And then I'll just say that something happened in the testing, you know, so no one has to know that I, you know, got scared. But I didn't feel that way, but they were wonderful. Like anything I needed, she was always right there to answer any of my questions and stuff like that. We had a little bit of a difference because the surgeon had to get neck surgery. So we came home, well, I actually came home from Maine, and I was here, and they called us up and said, hey, can you move the operation up a week? And it was only a week away then. So I thought I had 2 weeks to prep and get ready and, you know, get everything done at the house and stuff like that. And then they were like, no, you have to come in a week early. So everything was boom, 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 and then we were there. I think he's the luckiest man in the world. No. He is, it does really mean a lot, and he's doing really well, so I'm glad that that was something that I could do, because, you know, there's a lot of people that probably couldn't have even if they wanted to. And he didn't want to ask any of our kids because he said, it could be hereditary, and he doesn't want them to run into a problem down the road and then they only have 1 kidney. So, and he said, you're old, so, you know, if I take your kidney, it's fine. A couple of my friends were like, oh my gosh, are you sure about this? Like, you know, this is a big deal. Like, you've never had surgery like this. You know, I'm really apprehensive about this. So then in turn, that made me nervous, you know. So yeah, there was a little part that was nervous about it and thinking, oh, you know, is this really the right thing? And then what if something happens to one of us? You know, what happens to our kids? You know, and stuff like that. But no, you know, that was very short-lived.
Yeah, I found out probably 5 years ago that my kidney function had started to regress, and it came from a series of events over the course of, well, since 2009. I originally had diabetes, which damaged my kidney, and I was supposed to get a transplant. They put me on a transplant list. Ended up waiting 5 years, you know, from the time I was listed till the time I had a kidney transplant, and it was supposed to have been a kidney pancreas at the same time. But when they got me on the table, the pancreas wasn't viable, so they said, we're going to do the kidney alone and we'll get you a pancreas. And what happened then was the hospital eventually became decertified and couldn't do pancreas anymore. So I ended up listing with the University of Maryland, and 30 days later I had a new pancreas. But I already had damage from the last one. So the last kidney was being damaged because I didn't have a functioning pancreas. So after that was good, I got from 2015 to just a couple weeks ago, it worked fine, you know. So, but things had started to go downhill, and they said, "We're going to have to list you," you know. And I thought I could go through the cadaveric donation, but I didn't feel like I had time. And we were talking about it, and my wife said, "Hey, why don't I do it for you?" Because I didn't want my kids to do it, because I didn't know how long they would have to survive with like one functioning kidney. So I said, yeah. So that's what we decided to do. So, and that's what led up to the transplant. I was shocked, and also I was kind of reticent about it, because I thought, I don't want anything to happen to her as well, you know. And that's a really big ask, you know. And but when she came to it on her own, it was easier, you know. So I thought, okay, you know, I can do this if I'm sure that she's on board. So, you know, over the course of all the testing, which started in June, it came to be that she was on board. So, you know, that's how that happened. You know, they did a whole bunch of things, and they never really came out and said, yeah, you're a match. And then finally, probably, I don't know, 3 weeks prior to the surgery, they said, yeah, she's a match for you, so we can go ahead and do this.
If you want to see more stories like this one, head to the Online Originals tab on WNCT.com. In the digital studio, I'm Courtney Layton, 9 on your side.